Welcome, everyone, to my fifth Patreon only question show with questions from the patrons, and it's available on my live YouTube for everyone. On this show, I like to cut through all the bullshit, not waste any time. So we'll jump straight into the questions. And then I also have a few reviews I want to read. We'll talk about the YouTube channel, talk about the Patreon. But let's just jump into the first question. Advice if you own the 102 to 104 but don't need a quarterback and haven't been able to get any good trade offers. So this is a Dynasty Superflex rookie draft question. We know Bijan Robinson will be 101. Then 102, 103, and 104 will probably be Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and Anthony Richardson in some sort of order. What I would say is let's wait until the draft. Maybe the hype will go up, but you still want to take the player even if you don't need a quarterback. You want to get the trade value. Take the better player, take the quarterback. We know they're worth more, and you can always trade later. It's never bad to have a surplus of quarterbacks in Superflex, so I wouldn't worry about not needing a quarterback there. Let's get to this next one. First time in a Superflex league. Well, I love that. Superflex is my preferred format, so I always love seeing people joining new Superflex leagues. Any advice or strategy on how to draft? Picking from 110 in a 10-team league. Okay, well, in a 10-team Superflex, there's a little bit less quarterback scarcity because, everyone can have 3 starters. Still only 30 quarterbacks there. Whereas in a 12-team, 24 quarterbacks start each week. And then for everyone to have 3 would be 36, which is more than the number of starters. A little more quarterback scarcity. So I would just, be a little bit, if you're using my spreadsheet, adjust the quarterback value down a little bit. At the 110, though, you'll probably be looking at the quarterbacks will probably be gone. Probably be picking between, Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, CeeDee Lamb kind of value there. I might pick CeeDee Lamb or Bijan Robinson in a 10-team Superflex. Get a quarterback later. It's easier to get quarterbacks later. But don't fade quarterback. You don't want to end up with bad quarterbacks in Superflex, even in a 10-team league. In a league with a small starting lineup, how would you change your overall strategy regarding team building and trades? This question I actually get a lot. I get this question a lot, whether it's a small starting lineup or a large one. I get this question often. And essentially how I would answer it is, in a small starting lineup, you want to focus on studs more and depth matters less. Because if you're only starting 8 players, you need to have multiple studs in the lineup in order to win against your league mates. So focus more on studs. You're more likely to take the one side of a 3-for-1 trade than you might otherwise. So that's the only real change to my overall strategy. I still want to build value, but focus more on studs in that format. I do want to read a couple of the reviews of last week's show now that we've answered a few questions. I love today's show, but I also love every Tyler show. These are about last week's show. Another Tyler win, great video. These are becoming my favorite weekly videos to watch, and learned a lot from this one, Tyler. Really appreciate the thought and answer to my question. Thank you. Yeah, so just to kind of address all of that, I do appreciate everyone really seems to like this format because I really get to it, talking about the questions without a lot of the extra bullshit. And this is going to continue. This Patreon questions format is going to continue where you have questions in the Patreon Discord. And the Patreon link is in the show notes. It's up there at the right. You should be able to click on it as well in the video as well. So if you want to join the Patreon. And in the Patreon Discord, there's a thread. You can submit your question. It'll be read on the show. I'll answer it. And that's available to everyone to promote that more people should sign up for the Patreon for the opportunity to ask these questions. So I just want to appreciate and thank all of my patrons for asking all of these questions to give me content for this show. With that said, let's move on to the next one. From FF Lefty, he says, can Gardner Minshew be a cheap quarterback 2 in Superflex formats next year? With Indy at 4 overall, it seems more and more inevitable that they will draft a project quarterback. Anthony Richardson, I think, is who they have in mind there. Yeah, maybe he could be a cheap quarterback too, but I don't know. Indianapolis, Michael Pittman's kind of their only receiving weapon right now. Alec Pierce is fine. I mean, they have JT. I'm not running out for Gardner Minshew. If you want to draft him late in a startup and maybe flip him when he starts a few games for a rookie pick in 2024, that's a move I can go with. But no, I'm not looking to buy Gardner Minshew. I'm not super interested. He didn't look so great when he played in Philly, so I'm mostly out on him. And then we had a couple different versions of this question. What landing spot would make you move Anthony Richardson to 102 in your rankings, thinking Detroit would be a sneaky good spot? Is there a landing spot scenario that would make A-Rich the 102 in Superflex? For me, I think that would be difficult unless the Panthers made him 101. If he goes 101 in the NFL draft, I'm willing to say that he should be the 101, or not 101, but what the first quarterback in Superflex. I'll still have Bijan at 101, but I'm willing to take him at 102 in Superflex. If he's the first overall pick, I think so. But otherwise, probably not. And I do think he's going to go forward, Indianapolis, Richardson. That's kind of my prediction at the moment. Where and when do you think OBJ will sign? Yeah, it doesn't seem like people are very interested in OBJ. I do think the Bills and the Chiefs kind of are the leaders in the clubhouse for OBJ. I can see the Chiefs trading for DeAndre Hopkins and signing OBJ, get some veteran presence in there. They really only have Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. It's not a great room that they have. So yeah, Bills and Chiefs are kind of my leaders for OBJ. Is there still a possibility Gabe Davis breaks out? Yes, there's still a possibility, but I do think everything in 2022 kind of came together. It was his year 3. He was the wide receiver 2, the clear second option. He had a big opportunity. He just kind of did not deliver. I don't think he's going to get the same target share. I think the Bills are going to have to bring in someone to complement Stephon Diggs and compete for targets with Gabe Davis. So while I think there's a possibility he still breaks out, he's not old. I think that 2022 was his best opportunity, and I'm not counting on him. What happens to those young players that seem like they're on the verge of breaking out, that somewhat disappear rather than realize their potential? Examples include Claypool, Juju, Elijah Moore, Mims, Gabriel Davis, James Robinson, DJ Chark. How long do we hold them? That depends on the player. So someone like Denzel Mims, I mean, he could go. I mean, I don't have any use for him. But the rest of these, you just have to kind of judge what their future opportunity is. Like Juju is obviously not a drop. He's still usable in the NFL. He's not what we wanted, but he's still usable. Same thing with Elijah Moore. He still has potential. Gabe Davis, kind of the same thing. James Robinson, though, it's probably not going to come together for him. DJ Chark, we'll have to see. Chase Claypool is probably, past this time. I would say there's no hard and fast rule to answer this, but you just kind of, as long as the NFL seems to still be giving them a chance, we should still give them a chance. The NFL is done with Denzel Mims, so we should be done with Denzel Mims. The NFL is not done with Elijah Moore. I mean, the team just gave up something significant to acquire him. The NFL is not done with Juju. Someone just paid him a significant contract. So, that's how you kind of look at it. As a contender with an already strong starting lineup, I don't see any moves to upgrade. If we're looking to move for CMC, will you be willing to add to those types of players, Barkley or ETN, to get that deal done? I'm not sure I'd be looking to acquire CMC at this point. He's right on the edge of, he's going to turn 27 this summer. He's like on the edge of the value cliff. I don't think I'm going to be acquiring CMC. I think he's out of my price range. Looking at this lineup, I mean, you have Chase and Lamb and Amon-Ra and Barkley and ETN and Dak. Adams, Garrett Wilson is on your bench. I'm not sure how much I'm really looking to improve it. I would say I would consider putting Adams on the block and just seeing what you can get, just because you kind of don't need him. And it's a good opportunity to get out from that kind of asset. Who's already 30, is going to decline a little bit in value. But I got to tell you, you're in really good shape here. This is a ridiculously strong team. So I wouldn't worry too much. From Mitchie Tommy Poo Poo. I love that name. Thoughts on John Mechie and Justin Ross, 2 rookie wide receiver on IR last year? Justin Ross was undrafted. I have no hope for him. I mean, he'll have to show me something before I really give him any value at all. He's just a Devy name that people remember. As for John Mechie, well, I think he'll have a chance. I expect the Texans to draft a wide receiver at 12 overall. That'll be their one. They have Dalton Schultz. They signed Robert Woods. Nico Collins is there. Mechie has a tough road to climb, but if he does well, I haven't given up on him. But if you can get a early third, I'd take it and just re-roll on someone who didn't miss their full year. Again, as we know, and I say this often, the track record of players who missed their entire first year for any reason, doesn't matter if it's what injury, wasn't playing, didn't produce, whatever it is, the track record of those players is very bad. So John Mechie, unfortunately, is kind of in that group. What do I think the probability is that Levis gets a second contract with a team that drafts him? Oh, wow. Will Levis. I really don't think Will Levis is good. He seems to be falling in the draft process right now. Yeah, I am not going to be maybe 30%, 20, 30%. I'm not in on Will Levis. I'm sorry. I don't think he's good. I really don't. I just don't like him. Any guys you think that have good draft capital that you'll be out on? Will Levis would be the top of that list for sure. He's definitely a guy who I think is going to have pretty good draft capital that I'm not going to be in on. It's really the only one where I'm like, this guy who's going to have good draft capital that I have no interest in. A lot of the guys are the opposite. Players like Sean Tucker or Tank Bigsby that I like, but I'm worried they're not going to have the draft capital. It's more the other situation that I'm concerned about. But Will Levis is the main example of a player who I think is going to have good draft capital that I'm just going to be pretty out on. I don't think I'm going to have many shares, if any. With what year two receiver will make the highest leap? Burks, London, or Pickens? This is actually the last question. Well, I mean, Garrett Wilson, obviously, and Chris Olave were really, really good as rookies. It's hard to say that they're going to make a massive leap. Of these, Drake London was pretty good. Treylon Burks, I think. I mean, he didn't even have 500 yards as a rookie. He struggled a little bit with health. There was poor quarterback play and consistency. He would probably be the highest on my list for the most of a leap. And I'm still very in on Treylon Burks. I'm in on George Pickens too, but he did a little bit better as a rookie. But he's on my list. Treylon Burks, though, would be the one name if I had to choose one. Or, of course, Jameson Williams. He didn't do anything as a rookie, so he has a long way to go up. He's a long way to go up. But Treylon Burks, Jameson Williams would be the ones on my list for a year two leap. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone for putting in questions from the Patreon. I love doing this show because I get to answer the questions directly, quick format, answer, and just get it out to you guys. If you like the video, make sure to give it a like and a comment and subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell so you can be notified about future content, about breaking news, live streams, everything I do. If you're interested in the Patreon, should be a link on that top right corner. Hopefully it's actually there. If not, there's also a link in the show description at the bottom. And yeah, I'll try to get this show out to you every week or whenever I'm, ready for it, every couple of weeks. But I love doing it. And I love the patrons. I love my YouTube audience. And I just appreciate all of you. And I'm glad we had some more good questions. And we'll continue to do this. But until next time, love you guys and peace out.